हे एवरीवन, कैसे आप सभी लोग। आज की वीडियो में हम बात करने वाले हैं ब्रेक एंड कंटिन्यू स्टेटमेंट के बारे में। बोथ्स आर कीवर्ड इन जावास्क्रिप्ट। So what is a keyword? Keyword is just a word in a programming language that will tell compiler to do some task. Like in JavaScript we have a keyword let that will tell compiler to create some variable. Okay, we have different keywords in JavaScript, like we have where, for, and if. Okay, such as we have break and continue that will tell compiler to do some task. We can use this keyword inside a loop statement. We can also use this break keyword inside switch statement. We'll talk about switch statement in another video. Now in this video we'll talk about breaks and continue inside loop statement. We have different loop statement, like we have for loop, a while loop, do while loop, then we have for in and for op loop. Okay, we can use a break and continue in any of this loop to change its flow of execution, or we can alter the flow of this loop. We can use break statement to just jump out of the loop, or whenever interpreter execute the break keyword inside the loop statement, it will terminate the current execution of a loop. And then we have continue statement. When we or interpreter execute this continue statement, it will skip one iteration of a loop. Okay, so now in this video we'll take some example to explain break and continue. I will only create some example with a for loop, but you can use this break and continue in any of this loop. The working is same. So we'll start with a break keyword. So we'll take a simple example to explain break keyword. Okay, so we'll create a for loop that will iterate from 1 to 10. So I'll initialize a variable I to 1. We'll declare this variable as a global variable. Okay, and then we have I less than equal to 10, I plus plus, and inside this we have log our value of I. Okay, so this is a normal for loop that will iterate the numbers or the I value from 1 to 10, and we also print it to the console. We can see the output as 1, 2, 3, and then we have numbers as 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and last value will be 9 and 10. Okay, so this is the output when we don't use a break keyword. So now we'll use break keyword inside our loop. So I'll remove this output and we use if keyword. Okay, and here we check is I equal to 5, and then we have break, and below this we log the value of I. And now whenever this break statement is execute or by the interpreter, the 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 execution of the for loop will get terminated. Okay, or the program counter directly jumps out of this for loop and execute the code line below this for loop. So we'll dry run this code. So we have initial value of I as a 1. So we'll create a memory and store it inside a memory. Okay, then we'll check the condition. So and then we have 1 less than 10. So we'll run a code inside this if, for loop, and here we just print value of I, because this condition is not going to execute true until our I is become 5. So our output will be 1. Okay, and then we just increment the value of I by 1, so we got 2, and again we execute the code and we got 2 to the console, and again increment to 3, and again print it, and we have 4. Okay, and then we increment the value of I to the 5. Okay, now here we got this condition inside the if statement gets true, so that we can execute the code inside the if block. So interpreter execute this break keyword, and when this break keyword get executed, it directly jumps out of this loop. Okay, it will not execute further loop. So we can see only this output to the console 1, 2, 3, 4, and last value of I is a 5. So now we'll run this code inside the browser. So I'll just move inside the VS Code editor. Now we'll run a basic for loop I equal to 1, I less than equal to 10. and I plus plus. Then we have console log I. Now if I run this, we got the numbers from 1 to 10. Now what we do, we can now first of all let's see the last value for this for loop. So we'll create a global variable of I. Okay? So we can access it outside of the for loop, and then we have console log last value of I, like this, and got run this program. Now here we got the last value of I as an 11. Now, if I just insert a break keyword here, like I is equal to 5, and then we have break keyword. Okay. Now if I run this, we got the numbers from 1 to 4, and we have last value of I as a 5. Okay, you can see that we just terminate of our loop with a break keyword. Okay, so we can also write this if statement in anywhere of the loop. Like here, if I'll write the last statement of the if break keyword for the for loop. Okay, so if I run this, is nothing changed. We can only is difference that we print the values from 1 to 5 instead of 1 to 4. Okay, and our last value of I is the same, which is 5. And now we'll talk about how the break keyword will execute the value will execute inside the nested loops. Okay, so we create a nested for loop. We have an outer loop that will traverse from I equal to 0 to I less than equal to 3, and then we have I plus plus, and inside this we'll create an inner loop for j that will again goes from 0 to 3. And inside this we'll check if j is equal to 1, then we do simply break keyword. Okay, or break the loop, and below this we just log the value of I and j. Okay. Now here, when the program counter execute the break statement, it will only terminate this inner loop. The execution of this outer loop will not get affected. Okay, like whenever this value of j is equal to 1, it will terminate this inner loop. So we'll dry run this simple program. So initially we have I value as 0 and j value as 0. Okay, so we'll print the value to the console because j is not equal to 0. Okay, so we'll have the output as 0 0, and then we'll increment to the 1. Now j is become 1, so now this condition is true, so we'll got break, and program counter jumps out of this for loop. Okay, so nested for loop, and then we got their opening a closing curly braces of this inner outer for loop. So it will jumps to increment the value of I. So we'll increment the value of I by 1, and again we jumps inside this for loop because this condition is true. 1 is less than equal to 3. So again we execute this for loop. So again we got the value of j is a 0, and again we print the value of I and j. So we got 1 and 0, and we again increment the value of j by 1. So again 1 is equal to 1, so we break the loop again. Okay, so this will step repeated until I is less than n equal to 3. So we got output as a 2030, and last value of I will be 4. Okay, so this is simple example. You just have to remember that break statement will only terminate its surrounding loop or nearest loop. Okay, or if you want to just terminate this outer loop, you can write the break statement with the if keyword inside this, or above this for loop or below this for loop. Okay, so we'll run the example inside our code editor or VS editor. Okay, so we have let I equal to 1, I less than equal to 3. We'll write the same example that we'll see in a whiteboard. So we have for equal to 0. So I and j will start from 0. J is equal to 1, then we'll do break. So that we have, now if I run this, you can see we got the values at 0 0, 1 0, 2 0, and 3 0. Okay, so this is how break keyword is executed by interpreter. or we can also run the code before this break keyword. So you can just write console log or any statement before this break keyword. Okay, like we have break uh, here when value is 1, value is plus j. Okay, so we got break here when value is 1. Okay, so whenever this loop get executed, so we got break here when value is 1. So this is how break statement get executed. Now here I will also wanna explain one example with a keyword. Okay, so here we have a for loop that will goes from 0 to 3. Now what if I just write break here without if statement? So now here now we'll just print the last value of I. So first of all I will declare the I variable as a global variable. Okay, now if I run this, we got the last value of I as a 0, because when the uh, in the first iteration, when the code inside this for loop get execute, it will directly, or interpreter will directly get the break statement. So it will directly terminate the loop. So it will so we directly got the value of I as a 0. Okay, so this is a simple explanation I can give you. If you have any queries related to break statement, you can comment down below. I will try to I will create another video to explain break statement in a simple way. Okay, so now we'll talk about a continue statement. So I'll just delete everything from a screen, and we have continue. Now this continue keyword is different from the break statement. Now the break statement will directly terminate the loop, but continue statement will not terminate the loop. It will just keep one iteration of a loop. Okay, so we'll run a simple example like for that will goes from 1 to 10. The basic example plus. Okay. So we have if I is equal to 3, what we can do, we just do continue, and we log the value of I below this if statement. Okay, so now whenever program counter or interpreter execute this statement, continue statement, it will directly jumps to this increment or decrement stage for the for loop. Or if you using a while loop or do while loop, like we have syntax for while, then we have condition here, and for the do while loop we again have do, and then we have while and condition. Okay, like whenever the continue statement is execute inside this while loop and do while loop, it will jumps directly inside this condition, and for the for loop it will jumps to this increment or decrement stage. Okay, so there is only difference for this continue statement, but the execution or the working is the same for our loop. Okay, so okay, so we'll just run this program. We'll first of all try run this program. So we'll got I equal to 1. So we'll create a variable inside our memory, and here we print the value of I. Okay, because this condition is not true, so we got the output as a 1, and we increment the value of I by 1, so we got 2 and print it to the console, and we got 3. Okay, now again this condition is true, so we just do the continue, and we just move to the increment decrement stage and increment the value of I to 4. Okay, so now here we got the continue, we move to the next instruction. So the code beside this below this continue statement is not going to execute. So we don't have any output regarding 3. Okay, so now we have got 4, so we'll print it inside this log statement, because this condition will not get true, and we again increment the value to 5. Okay, so this will repeat until we got I is equal to 10, and we got the same output before, like 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we only skip value 3. Now we'll run this same example inside our loop. So we have for let 1 I is like 10 plus plus I. Okay. We got the same output 1 to 10. Now if I write condition if I equal to 3, now do continue. Okay, so now we got value output as a 1 2 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. We skip value as 3. We can just log something here inside this if statement or before the continue statement, like spotted 3. Okay. So we got spotted 3, so we cannot see the output. Okay, so this is how continue statement get executed. Okay, so what if I just copy and paste this if statement below this console log I statement. Now here we have different output. We can also see 3 inside the log statement. I just comment this console log. Now if I run this, we got the same output 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, because continue is the last statement of the for loop and there is no code below this continue statement. So we'll does not have any effect for this execution of the loop. Okay, so I hope you understand the continue statement. Now we'll take example with a nested loop. So we'll create another simple for loop, like we have for that will goes from 1 to 3 to I plus plus. Okay, and inside this we have an inner loop for j which will also goes from 1 to 3, and we'll check if j is equal to 2, then we'll do continue. Below this we log the value of I and j. So this is a simple example of the continue statement. You can also expand this, like you can do with a logical and operator or logical or operator. Like you can also check is I is equal to 1 and j is equal to 2. Okay, we'll take some example inside our VS Code editor. For the explanation, we'll take simple example. Okay, so we have value of okay, so whenever the continue statement get executed inside this for loop, it will just skip iteration for this inner loop. Okay, so it does not have any effect for this outer loop. Okay, you just have to remember this when you encounter break and continue inside the inner for loop. It will affect only inner loop. There is no effect for the outer loop. Okay, so we have initial value of I as a 1, so we'll write I equal to 1 and j equal to 1. So we not have j is equal to 2, so we'll print it on a console. So we got the output as a 1 1, and again increment the value of j to 1. So here we got value of j is 2. We'll do the continue. Okay, and we'll not print this. Okay, so we'll increment the value of j to 3, and we again here print it because this condition is not true. We'll got output as a 1 3, and again we got increment the value of j 4. Okay, now this time this condition is false, so we terminate this loop and we increment the value of I by 1. So we got value of I as a 2, and we got again j is equal to 1. So I'll just delete the values for the j. We'll create it again. So we got j as 1, and now this time you got the output as a 2 1, and we again increment the j value by 1, so we got 2. Again we skip it because we when j is equal to 2 we just continue, so we did not print the value for 2 j is equal to 2. We got the value for j is 3 and we'll print it. Okay, and now this execution is done. Like when j is equal to 4, we don't have to execute further, and again we increment the value of I to 3, and again it executes, so we got the value as 3 and 3 3. Okay, so this is output for the this nested loop with a continuous statement. So we'll run this same program. So we have for let I equal to 1, I equal to 3, I plus, for let below this we console log I comma. Now if I run this, you got the same output 1 1 1 3 2 1 2 3 3 1 3 1. 3 3. Okay, we skip the value j for 2, or we can just print the values what we skip. So we'll write skip, and I will just do j. Okay. So we'll go skip the values as 1 2 2 2 and 3 2, where is j is equal to 2. We can also do that like we have multiple, check the multiple condition like j is equal to 2, and whenever I is equal to 2. Okay, so like this. So we'll got only skip the value 2 2, where like in this condition our I is equal to 2 and j is equal to 2. Okay, so you can combine the conditions also, or if I just do I equal to 2. Okay, so we'll got when we skip, like when we skip 1 at 1 2, we also skip at 2 1 2 2 and 2 3, and we also skip at 3 2. Okay, so if I just remove this line, we can only get the output as a 1 1 1 3 3 1 and 3 3. Okay, so if you I think you understand how the continuous statement continuous statement works in JavaScript. Okay, so now we'll take a last example. So I will directly write this continuous statement without the if keyword. So what is the last value of I? Okay, so now if I run this, first of all we have to declare this variable as a global variable. So we got the last value of I as a 4. Like before, when we create a loop with a break keyword. Okay, uh, like this, like whenever we create the break keyword, it will directly got the values as a 0, or the here we just run this program, we got the values as a 1. Okay, for this below for loop. And for the upper for loop, where we write the continuous statement, we got the values as a 4. Okay, this is the difference. Now here I will explain why we got I value as a 4. So we'll dry run this last example, and we'll just stop for the today. Okay, so we have for loop, we'll have value let I equal to 1 and I is less than equal to 3, and we have I plus plus. And here inside this we have continuous statement. So when the interpreter start executing the code, we got value of I as a 1, so we'll create it inside memory. And then we'll jump check the condition. Now I less than equal to 3, so this condition is true, so we run code inside this for loop, but we got the continue. So continue statement will directly jumps to this um, increment decrement stage. So we'll increment the value of I to 2, and we again check the condition and jumps to the loop, and we again increment the value and again check the condition. Okay, so now we got the values as a 4, and now here our condition gets false, so our last value of I is equal to 4. Okay, so that's it for today. I hope you understand the video. You can subscribe the channel and like the video. So thanks for watching. See you in the next video.